I recently had a very strong craving for halo-halo in the heat of summer. Naintindihan ko ng konti kung ano yung naramdaman ng mga naglilihi sa pagkain. I get a similar craving for certain kinds of food sometimes. Your mind is not at ease, your appetite is in full gear, and you cannot stop craving for the food you long for until you have a bite of it in your mouth. What is more difficult to understand is another form of craving: people's hunger and thirst for justice. People who experience a deep sense of injustice, people who are deprived of righteousness, they develop a deep groaning for this. It's like a big hole in the heart that cries out to be filled. Justice can be very elusive in our present society. The justice system is so imperfect and deeply flawed that people can get arrested and may languish in jail for years without getting a fair hearing. Lawyers may refuse to render service if you cannot afford them. Judges may be bribed and can render wrong judgment. The poor who are innocent may suffer for decades in jail, but the rich who are guilty may go scot-free. But while justice may be difficult to achieve in our present time, there's a kind of satisfaction that is available to those who long for justice and righteousness. Jesus talked about it in the Sermon on the Mount. In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus said, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied." We all understand hunger and thirst. If we're famished, if we have not eaten anything for quite some time, we understand the craving for food. If we have not taken in water for some time, we are dehydrated, uhaw na uhaw tayo para sa tubig. What Jesus said is that there are those who have a desperate craving, this sense of hunger and thirst for justice, righteousness, of equitable treatment, because they have been denied justice and righteousness. This longing for righteous relationships, of equity in how we as people treat one another, this is inherent in our being humans. It is built into our humanness, just as hunger for food and thirst for water is part of being human. Jesus said that those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, they are the ones who will receive justice and righteousness. They shall be filled. They shall be given what their hearts desire in abundance, a veritable feast, just like an abundance of the choicest food and the best of wine. They shall be satisfied. So let us be sensitive to how we relate to people. Do not intentionally commit unjust acts against other people. God wants us to be just in all our dealings. And should you become a victim of injustice, and you are not given the righteous treatment that you deserve as a human being, and your heart begins to cry out for justice, and you hunger and thirst for righteousness, then fret not. God has a way of making things right. Put your trust in Him, and He will be the one to satisfy you. Always keep in mind that as we seek satisfaction for our hunger and thirst for righteousness, faith matters too.